I'm very good, thank you. I think we've having a few technical challenges at the start of this, but the word on my mind is century.
Century? Why? What's on your mind?
Have I been watching the cricket? Has somebody scored 100 runs? No.
No.
Is it my 100th birthday? It felt like it when I got back from the dog walk today, but no, it isn't.
It's not my 100th birthday either.
No,
In case you were wondering.
definitely not. No, the viewers and listeners can see that. It's yeah. So century. Perhaps I'm thinking I'm stuck in the 20th century maybe, and I need to get into the 21st century.
Well, I definitely feel like that. I definitely
But
feel.
no, that's not my reason for thinking of the word century at all.
Should we put everyone out of their misery and let them know
time.
what?
I think it's time. We could be here for another 100 years at this rate. Yes, let's go for it.
It is our 100th episode of the podcast today. Yes.
Oh, that's why I was feeling century. Yeah, I knew it was on my mind for a reason.
I know. Probably feels like it's been 100 years since you've been doing it.
Maybe. Yeah. Through the COVID days, certainly. That's when we started, wasn't it? Yeah, 100th episode of Finding Serenity in the Midst of Chaos. So, yeah, if you're only just joining us, you're joining us at a key point here in the podcast. But it means you've got 99 other episodes that you can catch up on through your podcast system. So, yeah. So welcome along if you're new, and if you're a regular, great. Good to have you there as well.
Yeah, great to see you here as well. Indeed, 100 episodes in. Should we tell the listeners how we came here in the first place? How did this even happen?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because it's, we've talked a lot about, your goals and what you want to do and how to get it and how to get out of the ruts and how to fight the restrainers that are stopping you from doing the things that you really want in life, etc. But yeah, we've never really talked about, this podcast didn't just happen, you didn't wake up one morning and think, I'm going to do a podcast. It's, the ideas bounced, grew, so I think we should talk a bit more about the history of this this work that we're doing these days.
That's right. For those of you who don't know either of us, so my name is Dr. Tulay Masih, of course, and I am the founder of Tulay Masih Coaching and the creator of Serenity Method. And I worked in the corporate industry for about 19 years, and Ian and I used to work together in the same company, funnily enough.
We did indeed. No mention of company names or anything, but it was in the same industry. It was the same company as Tulay says. That's where we sort of first met each other. And and I was my time there was coming to an end because I was on a secondment for what was effectively my last year. I didn't sort of know at the time, but at the end of that, then I'd left the company, and I would call myself a radio presenter, so I present on Puritan's Radio. I have done some stuff for BBC Radio Oxford in the past, and so my background is I did my training in hospital radio, and this podcast is an integral part of my Friday afternoon radio show on Puritan's Radio, which you can all listen and enjoy along, as well as this podcast, and get to hear this again as well. So it kind of started off, didn't it, on my show? You were a guest, actually, weren't you, to start with? That very first time that you came on my show, you were just like you were we're doing that two Ronnies thing now, aren't we, with a delay? So what I was saying, Tulay, in case you missed me, I was just saying that you first came on my radio show as a guest, just as a local businesswoman who was starting out your own business and growing this business of yours that has become Tulay Masih Coaching. So really, just like that's what I do. It's just a quick aside for anybody else. If you're a community group or doing something in the community, I'd love to hear from you. Get in touch with me at Puritan's Radio. You can be interviewed by me as well. Get your group out there to the public. But that's really what we were doing, Tulay, at the time, isn't it? Just to get you out there, get you known, get a bit of airtime for you. And it was a scripted sort of question and answer session. I don't kind of interview people really. I just have a chat to people and find out what I can about people. So I don't interview with formal questions, but you're presenting me with some questions, and it was pretty much a scripted thing we did at first. Do you remember?
I do remember. I've written the whole script, including the questions and the
yeah.
answers.
I'm doing as I was
I
told, me. I was just doing
remember
as I was told.
remember reading it almost word by word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much in the same breath, give or take. It was funny at the time, wasn't it?
It was great, yeah. But that was the start of it. And then, I don't know, did I say, oh, you have to come back and do something else? Or you came back and said, hey, I've got an idea, I'd like to talk about something else. Yeah, great. Okay, then, yeah, give us some examples of the work that you're doing or whatever it was. And, what you're trying to get across to people, etc., I think, and that kind of thing. I think you let me have a bit more free reign on the second one, my show and all that.
but we want to go back a little bit, one step
all right,
back.
go on. Yeah.
It wasn't just a radio show. Of course, I did come on the radio show because exactly the reasons that you've just explained. But I remember you used to come to our R&D meetings and used to
go and entertain them for 10 minutes or so on a Friday.
Yeah. Ian comes from the IT department. It's the most boring department ever, but the most needed department in any company. And he used to give us IT updates. Again, a dreaded 10 minutes of the whole show, if you like.
On his feet.
But Ian was different. He used to make me laugh so much. He used to entertain everybody. Even the most boring presentation was actually a great entertainment for me, at least. I don't know what everybody else thought, but I
there was a few funny looks from the back. Yeah, you were all smiley faced, but I got a few. We've really got to listen to this fool for 10 minutes every week, but most people are enjoying it. Yeah, love it.
No, it was really interesting. Anyway, that I really enjoyed. It came to your last day, I think it was, Ian. I think it was one of those days that you did that presentation, and you did have a cake and a leaving do kind of thing in the R&D department, and everybody was saying goodbye and stuff. And I came up to you and said, well, you know what are you going to do with yourself when you finish, when you retire? And he said, oh, I've got a radio show, all this sort of stuff. I said, have you ever thought of doing a podcast? He's like, what, podcast? What is a podcast?
What's that? What does that mean?
What is that? And then we just kind of had a little chat, and then we left it at that, because I was really enjoying the way that you speak about things, the way you make things entertaining and stuff like that, and just put it out there. And then I don't know how that happened. I think the radio show happened.
Yeah. The radio show froze just like you did. Go on, sorry, start again, July. Start again. Go on.
So I think we had that conversation on the podcast, but then you came back and whatever. Anyway, and that was it. And I think we exchanged emails, and then I did the radio interview, I think, in that one breath. Yeah. And you did a radio interview with my husband as well to get his business out in the open, as it were.
I got to sit in your kitchen, have a cup of coffee with him, and talk about his business.
That's right. And then I don't know what happened after that. I think it was like lockdown, and we started talking again, and we just started making this. I was literally a guest in your radio show every week. Yeah. And for about more than a year, wasn't it? Year and a half, actually.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's right. It wasn't doing anything else. With just to fill a little gap there, which you won't know. In the meantime, between you saying, "How think about why don't you think about doing a podcast, etc." And I said, "What's one of those?" And once I'd worked out what one was, and you'd explain, then I went away and thought, what topic can I pick? Because you said pick a subject that you're passionate about and just do a podcast on it. Just in the way you normally do. Yeah. And I really couldn't think of any topic or subject that I could pick up on, really, to some extent. And I think that then, until we started talking again, as you say, I didn't do anything with it. So, it was in the back of my mind. I hadn't forgotten about it. I was desperately trying to do something with your idea, but I just couldn't get anything to take off the ground, really. So, and then we started talking again. So yeah, there you go. Just wanted to fill the gap there.
But it's interesting, isn't it? That's the moment when we planted a seed in the ground. Correct. Just for an idea to start. And it was good that you were thinking about it. You weren't obsessed to the extent that how do I make this happen? How do I make this happen? But you knew that something was going to happen and something could happen. And that's, I think, when the lockdown hit, I can't even remember now. It's such a long time ago, like you said, 100 years ago. We started talking again. I think what was good is that we were starting to give people some hope in those talks every week. It turned into a nice little chat between us, which we then shared with everybody.
Correct. Yeah, that was it. I mean, I think, the idea that you wanted to help people, the idea I wanted to sort of cheer people up and lift people's spirits and whatever. And COVID hit him, where obviously everybody was sort of heading for a big nosedive in terms of, depression and being stuck at home. And there were people that loved it, I guess, just being at home and not having to go out and do stuff and whatever. And, to some extent, I cope with it myself, really. But then that was the beauty of me being able to carry on doing at home what I was doing anyway. So I didn't have to not go anywhere, as it were. So there weren't, I wasn't being impeded or restricted really in any way. Obviously, I was, because we all had to stay at home, etc., and not go to the shops and things. It's hard. We forget quickly, actually. Time moves on. So we always say time moves on. We're out of time today, whatever, not at the moment, but we will be soon. And, time moves by and you forget these things. But we just wanted to lift people, I think. And so it evolved into something more than just, an interview, didn't it? Yeah. And then became focused for a reason.
Yeah, it became focused on giving people hope, and as the name suggests, finding serenity in the midst of chaos. This is what people always think. There is this trap that we fall into. Things will be better when.
Yes.
When I finish university, when I start my new job, when I do this, and when the lockdown is over, when I find a new job, when I move into my new house. There's always a when, isn't there?
Definitely. When I finish my exams, when this is over, when I've been in hospital. It's always it, the day will come. Yeah.
But then, as we all know, the when never comes. So our aim is to give you the tools.
To give you the tools to be able to do these things.
Navigate through the chaos of life.
Yeah, that's right.
Navigate through the chaos of life and still be able to live in that serenity. That's the whole purpose of the podcast, and hopefully the topics that we've spoken about through our own experiences, through the experiences of our children, through the experiences of my clients, you can all resonate and apply. And that's the important bit: apply what you've learned here, because until you apply them, it's just going to come from one ear and go out from the other, basically.
That's right. You've got to take time and effort, and that just means just putting yourself on pause and actually thinking about these things. Like me with a podcast, I mean, I haven't really put myself on pause and think about what I'm going to do, but it was there in my head. But yes, this is a bit more than that. This is taking things to the next level. This is actually stopping, pausing, and really taking on board. I mean, and this podcast, for the regular listeners, you'll know Chulai's the expert. She's the one leading the way here. She's, she's got mentors as well, and she does research, and she doesn't speak out of her experience, and neither do I really. But I'm kind of the one representing the listener almost, and myself. I have grown and learned a lot in the time. It's not just I'm not just facilitating here. I'm actually thinking about what you're saying and trying to apply it myself as well. And you've been a great help to me. And that's just a bonus. That's not what we're here for. We're here then to get that out to everybody that wants to listen. And there is only one group of people, and that's the human race.
Yes.
You can split the world into all sorts of groups. We've had a laugh about this in the past, probably not on the podcast, but talking off air, I said, you could divide the world up into those who support Manchester United Football Club and those who don't. Those who enjoy colouring pictures and those that don't. It's limitless. Your imagination can divide the world up into all sorts of groups, to the limit of your imagination, as I say. But we haven't ever tried to do that, have we, really? We've never tried to exclude. We've said, if you're alive, if you're born, if you're a human being, you have a birthright just by being born. There's a clue in the word. And you're part of this, what we're doing, if
Mm-hmm.
if that's true for you. If you're an animal, and well, hard luck. We're here for humans, not animals. And we're not excluding animals, but you see what I'm getting at. We're not
I
splitting people
totally
up.
see what you're getting at. And because no matter what country we might come from, no matter what upbringing, no matter what language, what class we might be, as human beings, we all only have two things that we are driven by. One is the fear of inadequacy and fear of abandonment. Everybody wants to be loved. Everyone wants to be around people and to feel supported, to feel loved. And we have the fear of not having any of those things. And because of that, that could of course manifest into our lives in different ways. It's just our whole talk show, I nearly said podcast, is navigating through the thoughts that we might have, by using example, by using our experiences, is to make people aware of how those fears might manifest into our lives. It can manifest as, I'm never gonna do a presentation in front of all those people, or it could manifest as, I'll never go for that job. It could manifest as, you being frustrated with your children in any shape or form, but it's all coming from that fear of not being successful, not feeling good enough in yourself, and fear of being alone, basically. So as long as you're human, as long as you're living in this earth that we are all living in, you're experiencing it in some way or other, whether you realize it or not. And all these examples that we are giving can be extremely useful if you put it to the right use at the right time.
Yeah. You see, I want to say, Chula, for us men, I mean, this is a bit, I mean, we're tough guys, we're macho men. We don't do all this sort of stuff, but we do actually, let's get real, and us men need to get better at this, getting a bit real about it. We do have the need for fulfillment and the need to be loved as well. It's not, it's not a woman thing. It's not a baby thing. It's not a childish thing. It's a human thing, and us men are included. So, I just hope I can put a bit of that perspective into it as well. From the male side of things.
I'm glad you said that. Just because men suppress it very well, just because they don't want to show it, doesn't mean that they don't need it. It just means that they are very good at hiding it, and hiding things isn't great for people.
No,
it's manifests into other things in our body, physical experiences, as we've said before.
This is something that surprised me a lot when we talked about this. I can remember.
I know vocal about these things.
Sorry, our technology is jumping us about in through the time here, so I might have frozen on your screen.
It's okay.
But I was just saying that about hiding and not being real and whatever. We don't want to show it. We don't show that sort of weakness. We don't show weakness. We don't even talk about weakness, even at work. It's not a weakness; it's a development opportunity. And things like. But come on, let's get rid of the nonsense. We've all got strengths. We've all got weaknesses. They are weaknesses. Okay, nobody, especially men, don't want to appear weak, and that's fine, and that's okay. But we need to be real if we're going to solve real issues and get real solutions to our real problems, haven't we, Chulai?
Yes,
we've
absolutely.
got to be real about it. I've said
we've got to be real about it. We've got to know how to manage. I know off air you were talking about a nice quote that you read on Facebook. Can you read that out, and I will delve into that and explain to people what that really means? And
yeah. Okay, so it says the following. It says, watch your thoughts, for they become words. Watch your words, for they become actions. Watch your actions, for they become habits. Watch your habits, for they become your character. Watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. What we think, we become. That's the quote.
That's the quote. And that's exactly what it is. People come to me, talk about, I want to manage my emotions. I want to, well, nobody needs to manage their emotions. Emotions are to be felt. They're here for feeling. That's why emotion actually, what it really means is the energy in motion. There's energy in your body, there's energy of stuff going through you, and you need to let that go through you, as opposed to just get stuck in part of your body where it manifests into some physical ailment, if you like.
Wow, brilliant.
But managing emotions if you're already arrived at the emotion, it's too late.
Yes, okay. Yeah,
so
makes sense.
Emotions are created by the thoughts and the beliefs, as you said. You have a belief. Belief is a thought you continue to think, you continue to act upon without...
Yeah, continue to act upon without thinking. Yeah,
your life, this was true. Yeah.
Don't worry about me freezing on your screen. Keep going.
At some point in your life, you just realized that this was it, and then you never questioned it. So you continue to think that, you continue to feel, as a result of what you're thinking, some emotions. And more often than that, if they are negative emotions, as we call them, they will lead to negative actions. And then if you continue to act upon the same belief continuously, then it becomes your habit and it becomes your character, and you start to think, oh, I'm a bad person because I always act in this way, I react in this way. And then that triggers more emotions, and it becomes your identity in the end.
Wow. Yeah.
But then your identity was created by the beliefs and the thoughts and experiences and interpretations of that before you could even think for yourself, you see. And this is why most of us make our decisions from our 6-7-year-old self.
Okay. Understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So all those decisions we made all those times ago, all those years ago, we are still making our life decisions based on that 7-year-old. So
yeah, that's incredible. Think we'd have moved on.
Yeah. And this is what we are trying to unpack here. This is what we are trying to make sure that people understand and become aware of it. So when you start to have a a negative emotion that is leading to some unhelpful actions, if you like, then you start to go back. So what is it that I'm thinking right now? What is it that I believe? And is this really true or not?
Yes. Yeah. So it's that challenge, isn't it? It's just not accepting the way things are and challenging, going back, trying to be aware of stuff. We've said this a lot of times. Yeah, sorry, go on, Chulai, go on.
We did say this because the chances are, if something is making you feel bad, if there is some bad feelings around it and therefore bad actions, the chances are it is not true. The chances are that you need to go back and question that, like you just said. So it's important to be aware and to be a bit more curious actually about these things, rather than just taking them as read and judging yourself and saying that you're a bad person, whatever, but it just maybe, why am I feeling like this? What is really creating, what's really triggering this? Therefore, you can go back and solve the problem, because it's easy to change your beliefs.
Yeah. Right.
Once you know what they were, and if they're not serving you anymore, you can continue to, of course, feel bad, or you can continue, you can change it. So
see, that was going to be my next question. That was going to be my fear. We've talked about fear, that we're stuck with this now. This what happened when we were 6 or 7. We're stuck with it. Get on with it, mate. That's your life. Not true.
Not true.
No point in us being here if it was, really, is there?
Yeah.
People don't need to hear that.
No.
100 times every week.
Exactly. That's right.
We got something far better. We got better news for you than that. So
that's your life. Deal with it. That's your every week we turn up and say, "But no, of course not. We are evolving beings, and we are here to evolve and learn and grow. And we can sometimes do that by making mistakes. We can do that by what's the word I'm looking for? Going through
perhaps bad experiences. Sorry, I keep freezing on your screen. Carry on.
Going through experiences. There's nothing as bad experience. The experience is there to show you something. The only reason why we interpret it as bad is because it doesn't suit us at that point in time, or it doesn't make us feel good. So there is no such thing as bad or good. It just is. As we said, it is what it is.
Oh, thank you. You got my favorite expression in. We are where we are.
We have to say that, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Did you say that out loud, really?
I didn't.
It's just my ears. I need to go and get my ears checked. I'm hearing things that people are not saying. Talking of not saying, you might think you've missed the opportunity in life, but you haven't. Well, I missed an opportunity about 5 minutes ago to say that we're out of time, but I thought I'd let the time go today because it is the 100th edition. I'm not precious about the time today. I wanted us to, cover as much as we could, really, as a bit of a celebration of the work that we've been doing, and as a commitment to say that we're going to carry on for the next 100.
Absolutely.
The next 1,000, however many that takes. We're here for as long as it takes. And you can change.
Yes, and
listener, viewer.
Thank you for everyone, every week showing up and listening. And if you're new, welcome. And if you know that friends and family who would benefit from this conversation, which, as we said, they would, then share it with them. Share it with everybody who needs to hear this message, because the more people we can help, the more impact we can all make, and the ripple effect will, spread to the world for sure. Yeah.
That word on my mind now is exponential.
Yeah.
Growing. You can't see it on the camera for those that are viewing, but yeah. An exponential sort of view of it. Yeah, it does. It ripples, as you say, it grows. And that's what we want to do. There's so much, COVID brought so much negativity and destruction to so many lives. And, it's just it's easy to talk about COVID because it was in our face, it was on the news, but there's lots and lots of other things going on in people's lives that bring that same destruction and negativity. And you can do better. You're entitled to more. And that's what we're here to reassure and to encourage and build you up, basically, to be the best that you can be. Not better than, we'll talk about comparing another time, I'm sure, but I'm sure we have done in the past, but it's being the best you that you can be, isn't it? Really?
Exactly. You can only grow from where you were before, and there's no point comparing yourself to other people or other things, other situations. Everybody has their own journey, and you don't have to make it your own, because you've got your own journey to deal with as it is already. So
brilliant. Tulite, we're going to bring this 100th edition to the end now for today, and I just encourage people, we've got a lot more of this stuff coming, haven't we, over the next weeks and months and years. So stay with us. We're here for you. So thanks, Tulite. Good to talk to you again.
Same here. Thank you, Ian.